Asterisk: The Fox and the Hen, Part 1. The Moonlit Farm, a medieval sleep story for restful nights. The night had fallen softly over the hills, spreading like a silver blanket across the quiet countryside. The wind had stopped hours ago, and the only sound that drifted through the stillness was the slow creak of wooden shutters and the low hum of crickets hidden in the grass. Asterisk: On the edge of a small medieval village, so small it wasn't even on most maps, stood a weathered old farm. Its fences were crooked, its barn roof sagged like a tired hat, and yet the air around it carried the calm comfort of a place that had stood for generations. Asterisk: The moon hung low that night, pale and round, painting the fields in a soft, dreamlike glow. Beneath that moonlight, shadows moved, slow, deliberate, quiet. Asterisk: Inside the barn, a group of hens nestled together in their roosts, feathers puffed, eyes half closed. They clucked softly in their sleep, like the sound of distant rain. Among them was one hen slightly older, slightly wiser, named Henrietta. Asterisk: Henrietta had lived on this farm longer than any of the others. She had seen seasons come and go, new chicks born and grown, storms that tore down fences and winters that froze the ponds solid. She had survived all of it, not because she was the strongest, but because she was clever. Asterisk: That cleverness had earned her the quiet respect of every creature on the farm. Even the farmer, old Mr. Thomas, sometimes said with a chuckle, "That little hen knows more about this land than I do." Asterisk: But that night, something stirred in Henrietta's heart, something she hadn't felt in a long time. A faint unease. She opened her eyes. The barn looked the same as always, the wooden beams, the straw scattered across the floor, the flicker of moonlight slipping through the cracks in the boards. But the air felt different, heavy, watchful. She listened. For a moment, there was only silence. Then very faintly came the soft crunch of grass outside. Slow steps, careful steps. Asterisk: Henrietta's feathers ruffled. She knew that sound. Every creature of the farm did. The sound of a fox. Asterisk: Beyond the fence, in the tall grass that rippled like dark water, a pair of golden eyes gleamed. The fox crouched low, his body as still as carved stone, his fur catching the moonlight like threads of fire. His name, though no human knew it, was Rowan. Asterisk: Rowan was not a cruel creature. He did what all foxes did. He hunted, he survived, he listened to the rhythm of the earth. But tonight, as hunger gnawed at his ribs, he found himself drawn toward the farm like a moth to a flame. Asterisk: He had heard of this place, of the clever hen who had outsmarted dogs, farmers, and even storms. Asterisk: To Rowan, that was not just a challenge, it was a story worth being part of. Asterisk: He moved closer, every step a whisper. Asterisk: Inside, Henrietta was awake now, eyes sharp. She knew he was there before she saw him. She had felt the shift in the air, the silence that comes before danger. Asterisk: She hopped quietly down from her roost and made her way toward the barn door, her claws clicking softly on the wood. Through a small gap in the boards, she saw him low, sleek, and watching. Their eyes met. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Asterisk: Then Rowan smiled. A small, almost polite smile, the kind a gentleman might give before a dance. Asterisk: Henrietta didn't panic. Instead, she tilted her head, studying him. Asterisk: You're not the first fox to come here, she clucked quietly. Asterisk: And I doubt you'll be the last. Rowan's voice was smooth, quiet as mist. Ah, but perhaps I'll be the cleverest. Asterisk: Henrietta's eyes glimmered. We'll see about that. Asterisk and so began a silent gamer dance of thought and instinct under the moonlight. Rowan stayed near the edge of the barn, circling softly, his paws leaving no sound. He was testing her defenses, searching for a weakness, but Henrietta was no ordinary hen. While the others slept, she moved with care. She pushed an old wooden trough against the door. She nudged loose straw to hide the moonlight's glare, making it harder for the fox to see inside. She knew the rhythm of the night better than any clock. Asterisk the fox paused, eyes narrowing. "You're smarter than I expected," he whispered. Henrietta gave a small cluck, almost like laughter. "Flattery won't open the door for you, fox." A faint chuckle escaped his throat. "Then perhaps I'll wait. Everyone makes mistakes when they're tired." Asterisk, not everyone, Henrietta replied, turning back toward her nest. Asterisk, some of us learned a long time ago that the night listens. Asterisk, Rowan tilted his head. "The night listens." Asterisk, yes, Henrietta said softly. "The night hears everything you say, and remembers who you are." Asterisk, there was a silence deep and thoughtful. The fox didn't know if she meant it as a warning or a simple truth. Either way, he stayed where he was, his golden eyes reflecting the moon. Hours passed. The moon climbed higher, then began its slow descent. The air grew colder. Rowan waited, patient as shadow. He thought of his life in the woods, the hunger, the storms, the endless search for something more than survival. Asterisk, and for some reason he found himself speaking aloud, though he wasn't sure why. Asterisk, tell me, he said quietly, why do you stay in this cage, little hen? You could have flown once, couldn't you? Asterisk, Henrietta looked at him for a long time. Asterisk, maybe I could have, she said. But sometimes the safest place isn't the farthest one. It's the one where you've built your peace. Asterisk, Rowan frowned. Peace, on a farm, with a man who will one day take your eggs and your life. Asterisk, Henrietta gave a small sigh, the kind that carried years of quiet understanding. Asterisk, we all serve someone, fox. The question is, do we do it with fear or with purpose? Asterisk, the fox fell silent. Her words lingered like smoke in the air, as dawn began to touch the horizon, painting the sky with faint lines of pink and silver. Rowan turned to leave. Asterisk, he had not eaten, not attacked, not even tried to break in. Asterisk, but as he disappeared into the tall grass, Henrietta felt something shift within her. Perhaps this fox was different. Perhaps his hunger was not just for food, but for something deeper. And in some strange way, she understood that feeling, because even she, safe, respected, clever, sometimes dreamed of what lay beyond the fences. When morning came, the farmer found the barn just as he had left it. The hens clucked and pecked as usual, but Henrietta's eyes were distant, watching the woods beyond the hills. Asterisk, somewhere out there, a fox was watching too. Asterisk, and though neither of them knew it yet, their paths were now bound by curiosity, by respect, and by the quiet whisper of destiny. The Fox and the Hen, Part 2. The Whisper in the Woods, a medieval sleep story for peaceful nights. Asterisk. Morning broke slow and silver over the valley. Asterisk, mist rolled through the grass like a living thing, curling around the fences and barn posts. The world seemed half awake, as if still caught between dream and daylight. Asterisk, Henrietta stood by the open barn door, eyes turned toward the forest beyond the fields. The trees were dark, tall, and ancient. To most of the farm animals, they were only a line of shadows, a place not to go, asterisk, but to Henrietta, They had begun to call. Asterisk, she couldn't say why. Perhaps it was because of the fox. Perhaps because his voice had stirred something she hadn't felt in years. A quiet curiosity. A whisper of adventure she thought she'd outgrown. Asterisk behind her. The other hens clucked and fluttered as the farmers scattered feed. Mr. Thomas hummed an old tune, unaware that one of his hens was staring into the horizon. Lost in thought. Asterisk, strange old bird, he murmured, tossing a handful of grain, always looking at what's beyond her fence. Asterisk, Henrietta pecked a few kernels from the ground, then lifted her head again. The forest shimmered faintly in the morning light. It looked both peaceful and haunted, like a secret that had been sleeping too long. Asterisk, and somewhere inside it, she knew, was Rowan. That same morning, deep within the woods, Rohan lay curled beneath a fallen tree. The cold earth pressed against his belly. The scent of moss and old bark filled his nose. Asterisk, he had not slept much. His mind wandered back to the barn, to the clever hen who spoke like an elder. Not a meal. Peace or purpose, he whispered to himself, repeating her words. The forest stirred round him. Birds took flight, leaves rustled, and far away. The faint creak of a wooden wheel echoed through the trees, perhaps a cart on the road to the village. Asterisk, Rowan lifted his head. The morning light touched his fur, turning it from rust red to gold. Asterisk, he had lived alone for many seasons, and solitude had never bothered him. But now, for the first time, he felt something else in his chest. A pull, a question. Asterisk, a quiet need to understand the creature who had looked at him without fear. Asterisk, he stood, stretched, and began to walk. The forest was vast, filled with layers of sound, the sigh of wind through pine, the drip of water from stone, the quiet scamper of unseen things. Asterisk, but beneath it all, there was another sound. A faint hum, asterisk, at first. Rowan thought it was just his imagination. But as he moved deeper into the woods, the hum grew clearer. It wasn't a voice exactly, more like the low vibration of something old and alive. Asterisk, he followed it. Asterisk, soon he came upon a clearing, a ring of ancient trees, their trunks twisted and roots like coiled ropes. In the center stood a small stone well, half buried in moss and vines. The hum came from there. Rowan stepped closer. Asterisk, the air around the well was cool, almost cold, even though the sunlight was warm. As he peered inside, he saw nothing but darkness. Yet from that darkness came whispers, faint, like wind moving through hollow reeds. Asterisk, he couldn't make out the words, but somehow he felt their meaning. They spoke of hunger, of patience, asterisk, of a bond between predator and prey that was older than time. A shiver ran through him. He stepped back, his tail flicking nervously. Just the wind, he muttered, though he didn't quite believe it. That night, the moon returned, full and bright once again. The fields glowed softly, and the barn lights went dark one by one. Henrietta waited when the others had fallen asleep. She hopped down from her roost and slipped quietly outside through a loose plank. She'd been nudging for weeks. Asterisk, the grass felt cool beneath her claws. The night was still, except for the distant hoot of an owl. Asterisk, she took a few careful steps, her heart fluttering like a trapped leaf. Freedom, for the first time in years. She was outside the fence. Asterisk, the air smelled different here. Wild, untamed, alive. Every sound felt bigger, every shadow deeper. Yet she didn't turn back. Her feet carried her toward the forest, as though she were following a thread only she could see. Asterisk, and somewhere beyond the first line of trees, two golden eyes were watching. Rowan saw her before she saw him. Asterisk, for a long while. He simply watched, curious, cautious. He had not expected her to leave her safe little world. Asterisk, when she finally stepped into the moonlight. He emerged from the shadows. "You shouldn't be here," he said softly. Henrietta froze, startled, but then relaxed. "I could say the same to you." Asterisk, Rowan tilted his head. "A hen in the woods. That's a story no one would believe." "Then let's make sure no one has to tell it," she replied. He gave a low, amused growl. "Still clever, I see." Asterisk, Henrietta took a few steps closer. "I came to ask you something." Asterisk, "Oh." Asterisk, "Last night," she said, "when you asked why I stay, you spoke as if you've been searching for something, too. What is it you're looking for, Fox?" Asterisk, Rowan looked up at the moon. "I don't know. Maybe a place where I don't have to hunt just to live." Asterisk, Henrietta nodded slowly. "Then we're not so different." Asterisk, the fox looked down at her, surprised. You live in safety." "Safety is not the same as peace," she said. For a moment, neither spoke. The night seemed to listen, holding its breath. Asterisk, then the whisper came again, faint, but clear this time, drifting through the trees. Asterisk, both of them turned. Asterisk. The sound was coming from deeper in the forest, the same low hum Rowan had heard before, now rising like a voice calling through water. Asterisk, what is that? Henrietta asked. Asterisk, Rowan's fur bristled. Something old. I don't think it likes to be watched. Asterisk, Henrietta took a step closer to the sound. Maybe it has answers. Or maybe it has teeth, the fox muttered. She looked back at him, eyes calm. Aren't you the one with teeth? Asterisk, he couldn't help but smile. Fair point. They moved together through the trees, moonlight dripping between branches like silver rain. Asterisk, the forest grew thicker, quieter. Asterisk. When they reached the clearing, Henrietta stopped. The air here felt heavy, ancient, as though every leaf remembered something it couldn't speak. She saw the well. What is it? She whispered. Asterisk, Rowan kept his distance. A place the forest keeps to itself. Asterisk, Henrietta stepped closer. The hum grew louder, and within it she began to hear something else. Fragments of words, faint and trembling. Asterisk, choice, ... hunger, ... promise, ... Asterisk, she leaned forward. It's speaking. Asterisk. Rowan growled softly. Don't listen. It's not meant for you. Asterisk, but Henrietta didn't move away. The darkness inside the well seemed to reach toward her, not with hands, but with memory. Asterisk, for an instant. She saw flashes, feathers, blood, moonlight, and something vast and unseen watching from above. Then it was gone. She staggered back, breathless. Rowan caught her before she fell. Asterisk, what did you see? He asked. Asterisk, she shook her head. I don't know, but it felt like the forest remembers us, as if we'd met before. Asterisk, Rowan's eyes flickered. You believe in such things? Asterisk, Henrietta looked up at him. Don't you? He didn't answer. Asterisk, they stayed there until the first light of dawn touched the sky. Neither spoke again, though both felt the weight of something unspoken between them, something older than the farm, older than the forest. Asterisk, as they turned to go, Henrietta glanced once more at the well. The hum had faded, but in the faint morning breeze, she thought she heard a whisper meant only for her. Asterisk return. Before the seventh night, ... A chill ran down her wings. Rowan noticed. What is it? Asterisk, she forced a smile. Nothing. Just the wind. But in her heart, she knew the wind had never spoken like that before. Asterisk, back at the farm. Mr. Thomas found a few feathers by the fence, but thought little of it. Asterisk, must have been the breeze, he muttered, not knowing how close his clever hen had come to the forest's secret. Asterisk. Henrietta climbed back to her roost before the others awoke. But her mind would not rest. Asterisk, she had heard something she couldn't forget, something that felt like both a warning and a calling. Asterisk, and far away in the woods. Rowan lay awake beneath the same dawn light, thinking of her words. Asterisk, safety is not the same as peace. Asterisk, he didn't know it yet, but their choices were already leading them toward the seventh night, and whatever waited beyond it. The Fox and the Hen, Part 3. The Night of the Chase. Medieval sleep story for restful nights. Asterisk, the third night came quietly, carried on a wind that smelled of rain and wild thyme. Asterisk, clouds moved slowly across the moon, dimming its light in waves. Somewhere in the woods, an owl called low, patient, timeless. Asterisk, Henrietta sat awake inside the barn. The other hens slept soundly, wings tucked tight, breathing soft. But she couldn't rest. That whisper, the one from the forest well, still echoed faintly in her mind. Asterisk, greater than return. Before the seventh night, ... double quotes, 7 nights. What did it mean? Asterisk, she didn't know. But something deep in her heart told her it was not just a dream. Asterisk. She looked toward the loose plank near the barn's corner, the one she had used to slip outside before. Asterisk, for a long time. She stared at it, unsure whether she should go again. Asterisk, then, the sound came, the faintest rustle outside, the softest crunch of grass under a careful paw. Rowan. Asterisk. He appeared like a shadow stitched from moonlight, quiet, graceful, his fur shining pale beneath the half-hidden moon. Asterisk. Henrietta met his gaze through the small gap in the boards. Asterisk, neither spoke at first. There was only the wind, brushing softly through the wheat fields. Asterisk, then Rowan said quietly, "You heard it too, didn't you?" Asterisk, Henrietta blinked. The voice. Asterisk, he nodded. It spoke again, tonight, before the moon rose. It called my name. Asterisk, her feathers lifted slightly. It spoke your name. Asterisk, yes. And it said the same thing it told you, to return before the seventh night. Asterisk, Henrietta's heart beat faster. Then it wasn't just in my head. Asterisk, no, he said, stepping closer. The forest is watching us both, outside. A storm was gathering, distant thunder murmured beyond the hills. Asterisk, the air felt charged, trembling, as if the world itself was waiting. Asterisk, Rowan lifted his head. Listening? Something's moving tonight. Not just us, double quotes asterisk, what do you mean? Asterisk, the woods are restless, he said softly. I can feel it in the ground. Asterisk, Henrietta hesitated, then slipped out through the loose plank. The night air was cool against her feathers. Asterisk, she looked up at him. Then let's find out what it wants from us. Asterisk, Rowan frowned. Are you sure? Asterisk, she gave a tiny smile. If I'm not, who else will be? They moved together across the fields. their shadows long and slender beneath the moonlight. Asterisk, the storm clouds loomed closer now, rolling over the valley like great black sails. Asterisk, as they reached the edge of the forest, the first drops of rain began to fall, soft, sparse, whispering against leaves. The forest greeted them with the sound of water and wood. Every drop of rain seemed to echo. Every gust of wind felt like a sigh from the trees themselves. Asterisk Rowan led the way. He moved like water through the darkness, confident, silent. Henrietta followed close behind, stepping carefully between the roots and ferns. Asterisk, do you think the well will speak again? She asked quietly. Asterisk Rowan's ears twitched. If it does, we'll listen together. They reached the clearing. The well stood as before, covered in moss, glistening faintly from the rain. Asterisk, but this time, the air felt different. The hum was stronger, deeper, alive. Rowan stepped forward. It's waiting. Asterisk. Henrietta's breath trembled. Then let's not keep it waiting any longer. Asterisk, together. They peered into the darkness. Asterisk this time. The voice was clear, soft yet vast, like the echo of the ocean inside a seashell. Asterisk, the bond must be tested. ... Asterisk, the chase must begin. ... Lightning flashed above them. Henrietta flinched. Rowan growled under his breath. What chase? He asked the darkness. The voice answered like the rustling of leaves, greater than to understand hunger. ... You must know what it means to be hunted. Then silence. The ground trembled. From somewhere deep within the woods came a new sound, low, distant, and heavy, like the slow thud of enormous footsteps. Asterisk Rowan's fur bristled. Run, he whispered. Asterisk Henrietta looked at him. Run? From what? But she didn't need an answer. From the shadows beyond the clearing, two glowing shapes appeared, tall, four-legged, their eyes like molten silver. Not foxes, not wolves. Something older. They stepped forward, silent but unstoppable. Rowan snapped around. Go, back, toward the fields. Asterisk Henrietta ran, her claws scraping wet leaves. The rain fell harder now, turning the forest floor to slick mud. Asterisk behind her. She heard Rowan's paws striking the ground, and behind him the steady, monstrous rhythm of something much larger. The chase had begun. Asterisk branches whipped past. Mud-splashed Asterisk Henrietta darted between roots, heart hammering, lungs burning. She had never run this far, never this fast. Asterisk Rowan's voice came from behind her, calm but firm. Keep left. Follow the river. Asterisk, she turned, barely missing a low branch. The rain blurred her vision. Asterisk, the forest seemed endless, trees upon trees, shadows upon shadows. Asterisk, a flash of silver moved in the corner of her eye. One of the creatures, leaping between trees, silent as smoke. Asterisk, she gasped. Rowan? Asterisk, I see it. He growled, turning sharply to intercept. Asterisk, for a moment, she glimpsed him in the lightning, his body tense, eyes fierce. Then they were swallowed by the storm. The chase carried them all the way to the riverbank. Asterisk, the water was wild from the rain, white foam breaking over stones. Asterisk Rowan leaped first, landing on the opposite side with a splash. Jump, he called. Asterisk Henrietta hesitated. The river looked too wide, too fast. Asterisk, you can do it, Rowan shouted. She gathered herself, flapped her wings once, and jumped for a heartbeat. She felt weightless. Asterisk, then she landed, stumbled, and he caught her. Asterisk, they collapsed together in the mud, breathing hard. The sound of pursuit was gone. Only rain, only wind. For a long moment, neither spoke. Asterisk, then Henrietta whispered, "What were they?" Asterisk, Rowan shook his head. "Not of this forest. Not anymore." Asterisk, he looked back across the river. The clearing was hidden now, lost behind sheets of rain. Asterisk, the well called them, he said quietly. It wanted to test us. Asterisk, test us for what? For trust, Rowan said simply. Henrietta turned to look at him. Asterisk, then we passed. Asterisk, he smiled faintly. For now. As the storm began to fade, the forest fell silent again, but not peaceful. The silence felt aware, as though it were listening to every breath they took. Asterisk, Rowan and Henrietta found shelter under a low, rocky ledge. The air there was cool, damp, safe. Asterisk, Henrietta rested, her feathers still trembling. You saved me, she said softly. Asterisk, Rowan shook his head. You saved yourself. I only ran beside you. Asterisk, she smiled faintly, her eyes half closing. Then maybe that's what saving means. Asterisk, outside. The rain slowed to a drizzle. Asterisk, a single ray of moonlight broke through the clouds. Touching the forest floor, Asterisk, Rowan watched it for a long time. Thoughtful, Asterisk, Henrietta, he said quietly, if the voice was right. And there are 7 nights. Then this was only the beginning. Henrietta's eyes opened slowly. Then we'll face the next together. Asterisk, Rowan looked down at her, the small, brave creature who had walked willingly into his world, and for the first time, he felt something unfamiliar. Asterisk, not hunger, not pity, something closer to belonging. Asterisk, outside, the forest whispered again, faint and far away. The Fox and the Hen, Part 4. The Hidden Cave, a medieval sleep story for restful nights the storm had passed. But the world still held its echo. Asterisk, every leaf dripped silver water. Every stone shone as though the moon had brushed it. Clean, mist rose from the river like a living breath. Rowan and Henrietta lay beneath the rocky ledge until the sound of thunder became a memory. Asterisk, when morning arrived, pale and still. The forest felt changed, emptier somehow, as if it had given something of itself away. Asterisk, Henrietta opened her eyes first. The air smelled of wet earth and pine sap. Asterisk, she shook her feathers, small droplets flying. Asterisk, Rowan was awake already, sitting at the cave's mouth, staring toward the soft light. Asterisk, did you sleep at all? She asked. Asterisk, he gave a faint smile. Foxes don't sleep easy after storms. We listen for what the water leaves behind. Asterisk, Henrietta tilted her head. And what did it leave? He pointed with his nose toward the riverbank. There, half buried in mud, something glimmered, a small stone, carved smooth by age, marked with a faint spiral. Asterisk, Henrietta stepped closer. It looks like the pattern on the well. Asterisk, Rowan nodded. I think the river carried it from there. Asterisk, he brushed away the mud with his paw. Underneath, the spiral pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. They followed the river upstream. Asterisk, the forest here grew denser, older. Tree trunks widened until 5 men could not have circled one with joined arms. Asterisk. The air smelled of moss and secrets. Asterisk, the spiral stone led them onward. almost glowing beneath the shallow water whenever the sun touched it. Asterisk at midday. They reached a cliff where the river vanished into darkness. Asterisk water poured through a narrow opening, black and endless. Asterisk Henrietta shivered. A cave. Asterisk Rowan crouched low, listening to the roar. A hidden one. The forest has many doors, but not all are meant to open. Asterisk Henrietta looked up at him. But the voice wanted us to return, didn't it? Maybe this is where we're meant to go. Asterisk, he sighed, studying the shadows. If we enter, we may not come back. Then we'll have to trust that it's not the end, she said softly. Asterisk inside. The cave was cold and full of echoes. Asterisk water dripped from above in slow, patient rhythm. Their footsteps paw and claw made soft sounds against the stone. As they moved deeper, the air grew stiller, thicker. Faint light from glowing fungi clung to the walls, painting them in green and blue. Asterisk Henrietta's feathers caught the glow. Rowan's fur shone silver. It felt less like walking and more like drifting through an ancient dream. After a while, the tunnel widened into a hollow chamber. Asterisk in its center stood another stone well twin to the one above, but older, cracked, surrounded by runes. Asterisk Henrietta stepped closer. It's the same voice, isn't it? Asterisk Rowan nodded slowly. Yes, but quieter, as if waiting. He leaned forward, listening. Then the air changed. A low vibration passed through the floor and into their bones. Asterisk the carvings lit one by one until the chamber glowed with ghostly light. Asterisk, greater than you came, said the voice calm. Deep, neither male nor female. Asterisk, the bond of the chase is forged. Now you must remember the first promise. Asterisk, Henrietta swallowed. What promise? Asterisk, greater than the promise of balance, it murmured. Predator and prey, keeper and kept. One cannot exist without the other. Asterisk Rowan lowered his head. Then why test us with fear? Asterisk greater than because only in fear does trust take root. The words rolled through the chamber like thunder wrapped in silk. The well's light dimmed, leaving a faint spiral shining beneath the water's surface. Asterisk Henrietta gazed into it. For a moment, she saw images again, fields turning golden. A fox curled beside a hen. The farm bathed in gentle light, and beyond that, a dark figure watching from the trees. Then everything went still. Asterisk Rowan turned to her. What did you see? Asterisk, she hesitated. A future that shouldn't be possible. Asterisk, maybe it's not showing what will happen, he said quietly. Maybe it's showing what could. Asterisk, she looked up. Do you think that's why we met? Asterisk, he didn't answer right away. The silence between them was soft, not heavy. Asterisk, finally, he said. Maybe the forest wanted to remind itself that peace can exist, even between hunger and fear. Asterisk Henrietta smiled. Then we've already passed the second test. They rested inside the cave while evening slipped quietly over the world outside. Asterisk. The light from the fungi faded and returned with each breath, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Asterisk Henrietta dozed for a while, dreaming of the barn, of her sisters asleep under the warm straw. Asterisk, when she woke, Rowan was still awake, eyes glinting in the dim blue light. Asterisk, why don't you sleep? She asked again. Asterisk, he smiled faintly. Maybe I'm afraid that if I close my eyes, I'll wake up alone again. You won't, she said. He looked at her for a long moment. How can you be sure? Asterisk, because the voice didn't call one of us. It called both. Outside, the rain began again, soft, steady, soothing. Asterisk, it whispered against the rocks, filled the cave with its rhythm. Asterisk, Henrietta nestled closer to the warmth of the fox. Her eyelids grew heavy. Rowan listened to her breathing until it matched the sound of the rain, somewhere deep inside the cave, beneath the layers of stone. The whisper came once more, asterisk, so faint it could have been mistaken for the wind. For nights remain. The heart has learned to listen, ... When dawn came, light spilled through the cave mouth in golden ribbons. Asterisk, the storm had washed the forest clean. Asterisk, mist curled upward from the ground, and the river shone like glass. Asterisk, Henrietta stretched her wings, feeling stronger than before. Rowan stepped into the sunlight beside her. Neither spoke. They simply watched as the world brightened, quiet and endless. Whatever the voice had planned, they were no longer afraid, because now they were no longer alone. The Fox and the Hen, Part 5. The Farmer's Secret, asterisk, a medieval sleep story for calm nights and quiet minds, asterisk, the morning after the storm. The air smelled of new beginnings. Asterisk, the forest shimmered with droplets, every leaf catching light like a jewel. Asterisk, Henrietta and Rowan followed the river back toward the open fields, the soft soil cool beneath their steps. Asterisk, they had survived the storm. They had found the cave, but the whisper still lingered in their minds. Asterisk, greater than 4 nights remain. The heart has learned to listen. Asterisk, neither of them knew what it meant, but both felt the weight of it in their bones. When they reached the edge of the forest, the farm appeared through the mist, asterisk, peaceful, ordinary, untouched by all that had happened. Asterisk, smoke rose gently from the farmhouse chimney, and the faint sound of a human voice hummed a tune. Asterisk, Henrietta froze. That's the farmer. Asterisk, Rowan tilted his head. The one who raised you. Asterisk, yes, she said softly. He's kind, but lately he's been different. Asterisk, before I left, I heard him whispering in the barn, as if talking to someone who wasn't there. Asterisk, Rowan's tail flicked uneasily. Then perhaps the forest isn't the only place with secrets. They moved closer, hidden beneath the hedges. Asterisk, the farmer stood by the barn door, his old coat patched and worn, his hands rough from work. Asterisk, but there was something strange about his eyes, deep shadows beneath them, and the faraway look of a man who hadn't slept in weeks. Asterisk, he carried a small wooden box. Its lid was carved with the same spiral as the stone from the cave. Asterisk, he placed it on the ground and whispered, asterisk, greater than by the earth that feeds, by the moon that watches, I keep the balance. Then he opened the box. Inside was a feather, pure white, glowing faintly even in daylight. Asterisk, Henrietta's heart skipped. That's one of mine, she whispered. Asterisk, Rowan blinked. How could it glow like that? Asterisk, she shook her head. I don't know, but I remember losing it near the well days ago. Asterisk, the farmer lifted the feather carefully, his hands trembling. He spoke again, the words quiet but filled with a strange reverence. Greater than the voices chosen, the pact must hold. The hunter and the hunted must both return. Then he closed the box and looked toward the forest, directly toward them. Asterisk, Rowan froze, muscles tight. Asterisk, but the farmer's gaze was soft, almost kind. as if he could see them and yet wasn't afraid. Asterisk, I know you're there, he said gently. Both of you. Asterisk, Henrietta stepped out first, wings tucked close. Rowan followed, cautious but calm. Asterisk, the farmer smiled faintly. Ah, so the forest truly remembered. Asterisk, Henrietta's voice trembled. What do you mean? Asterisk, he set the box down and sat on an old wooden stool by the barn. You two were never meant to be enemies. Asterisk, long before I came here. This land was differently I've, in a way men have forgotten. Asterisk, the forest and the farm were bound by a promise. Asterisk, the fox would guard the night. The hen would guard the dawn. Asterisk, together they would keep balance, so the land could sleep in peace. Asterisk, Henrietta's feathers rustled. Then why does the forest test us? Because men broke their half of the promise, the farmer said quietly. We took more than we gave. We hunted without need. Asterisk, and so the voice of the forest began to fade, ... until only the storms could speak for it. He opened the box again, showing them the glowing feather. This, he said, is the forest's heart. It carries what little harmony remains. Asterisk, Rowan stepped closer. Then why do we hear the voice? Asterisk, the farmer looked at him steadily. Because it chose you. The forest remembers mercy as much as hunger, and it needed both of you, predator and prey, to remind the world how to rest. The wind sighed through the fields. Asterisk, for a long time. None of them spoke. Henrietta felt warmth spread through her chest, calm she hadn't known in days. Rowan, too, felt something loosen inside him, a quiet understanding that the chase had never been about hunger at all. Asterisk, finally. Henrietta said softly, if this balance must be kept, what happens when the seventh night comes? Asterisk, the farmer's expression darkened. When the seventh night ends, the choice must be made. Asterisk, either the forest will sleep forever, or it will wake. Asterisk, wake. Rowan asked. Asterisk, yes, said the farmer, eyes distant, and when it wakes, it will remember everything. That night, the moon rose red over the fields. Asterisk, the farmer sat outside his barn, humming softly to himself. Asterisk, Rowan watched from the hedgerow, tail still. Henrietta perched beside him, her feathers gleaming pale in the moonlight. Asterisk, I think he's afraid, she whispered. Asterisk, Rowan nodded. Humans often are, when they realize the world can listen. Asterisk, the barn creaked. Somewhere inside, something shifted an echo, a low hum, almost like the voice they'd heard in the cave. Asterisk, 3 nights remain, it whispered faintly. Asterisk, the bond is tested by truth. Asterisk, Henrietta shivered. 3 nights, and then the choice. Asterisk, Rohan looked at her. Whatever happens, we stay together. Asterisk, she smiled, weary but brave. Always. As the night deepened, the farm fell silent. Asterisk, but the earth beneath their paws and claws began to pull soft, slow, like a heartbeat matching their own. Asterisk, in the sky above, clouds drifted over the red moon. Asterisk, and far beyond the forest, where mist met mountain, the old spirit of the land stirred, listening. The Fox and the Hen, Part 6. The Storm and the Silence. A medieval sleep story for calm nights. Asterisk, the night arrived, heavy and quiet, yet full of whispers. Asterisk, stars hid behind clouds, and the moon was a pale memory in the sky. Asterisk the fields, washed clean by storms, shimmered faintly in the darkness. Asterisk Henrietta and Rowan had returned to the forest's edge, their paws and claws soft against wet grass. They remembered the farmer's words, "Greater than 3 nights remain. The bond is tested by truth." And now it was almost time. Asterisk the wind shifted, carrying the smell of rain yet to fall. Asterisk Rowan paused, nose twitching. Something's coming. Asterisk Henrietta's feathers rose slightly. The storm? Asterisk, he shook his head. Not just the storm. Something older. Asterisk, in the distance. Lightning flickered across the horizon, illuminating the outline of the hidden cave. The forest seemed to lean closer, as if listening. Henrietta shivered. "Do you think the voice will speak again tonight?" Asterisk Rowan looked toward the cave. "It already has. The question now isn't whether it will speak. The question is whether we can listen." They moved silently through the trees. Asterisk, every sound was amplified, the drip of water from leaves, the soft scuff of Henrietta's claws on wet earth, the faint rustle of Rowan's tail brushing against grass. Asterisk, when they reached the cave, the air changed. Asterisk, it was cooler here, heavy with moisture and memory. Asterisk, the hollow chamber glowed faintly with remnants of phosphorescent fungi. The spiral well pulsed softly in the center. Henrietta stepped closer. "It's waiting." Asterisk Rowan crouched beside her, alert, ears flicking. "The storm comes too. I can feel it in the stone and in the wind." The rain arrived suddenly, not as gentle drops, but as a curtain. Asterisk, it hissed on leaves and rocks, a soft drumbeat echoing through the cave. Asterisk, the voice whispered again, carried by the air and water. Asterisk, the heart must face the storm. Asterisk, and the mind must meet the silence. Asterisk, only then will the bond be whole. Asterisk, Henrietta tilted her head. The silence? What does that mean? Asterisk Rowan lowered himself into a crouch. "We'll find out. Sometimes the storm and silence are the same thing. Asterisk, only one teaches, and the other listens." They waited. Asterisk thunder rolled overhead. The wind howled between the trees. Asterisk Henrietta felt small and vulnerable, yet strangely safe beside the fox. Asterisk Rowan's presence was steady, a constant pulse beneath the chaos. Asterisk, the cave began to shift. Not physically, but in perception. Asterisk walls seemed to stretch taller, shadows deeper, echoes wider. Asterisk, and within the echoes, the hum returned. "Greater than fear will not pass alone, only courage shared will endure." Asterisk, Henrietta shivered. Courage shared. Asterisk Rowan's golden eyes met hers. "It means we face this together." Hours passed, though time felt stretched, like walking underwater. The storm's roar softened to a whisper. The cave's air settled into stillness. Asterisk, the hum faded, leaving only the sound of their own breaths. Henrietta closed her eyes. For the first time, she felt the forest not as a threat, but as a living companion, patient, old, aware. Asterisk Rowan exhaled beside her, tail flicking gently, eyes half closed. Asterisk, in the silence, she heard the whisper of her own heartbeat, matching the pulse of the well. Asterisk, she realized something. The bond the voice spoke of wasn't just between predator and prey. Asterisk, it was between all who listened. Morning arrived slowly, soft and golden. Asterisk, the storm had ended. The cave glistened with droplets, and the river outside flowed calmly. Rowan stretched and shook water from his fur. Henrietta ruffled her feathers. Tired but awake, the spiral well no longer pulsed. Instead, the light rested gently on the stone, like a promise kept. Henrietta whispered. The storm. The silence. I think I understand now. It wasn't meant to scare us. It was meant to teach us to trust each other, and ourselves. Rowan nodded slowly. The forest will remember, and so will we. As they emerged from the cave, the world felt different. Every leaf, every stone, every drop of water seemed alive, patient, full of quiet wisdom. The farmer's fields stretched beyond the forest, bathed in dawn. The barn, the fences, the old wooden house, Saul looked ordinary, yet somehow sacred. Henrietta looked at Rowan. 3 nights remain, but I don't feel afraid anymore. Rowan's ears twitched in agreement. Neither do I. We've passed the storm. We've faced the silence. Tomorrow, we will finish the bond. They paused, listening to the river, the wind, the world waking slowly. 2 nights remain. The voice whispered faintly, as if carried on the wind. The heart is ready. The choice approaches. Henrietta closed her eyes, resting against Rowan. And for the first time in a long while, both felt the calm of the forest, the quiet of the storm, and the patient rhythm of life itself. The Fox and the Hen, Part 7. The Morning of Wisdom, a medieval sleep story for restful nights. The last night had passed with quiet patience. The storm had been faced, the silence honored, and the forest's whispers carried only calm. Henrietta and Rowan emerged from the woods before dawn, stepping into the soft glow of morning. Mist rose from the fields, curling around fences, stones, and trees like silver smoke. The world was gentle, awake but still hushed, a place where every sound seemed sacred. The farmer stood near the barn, waiting. He didn't speak at first. He only watched them, eyes deep and steady, as if seeing everything and nothing all at once. Henrietta approached him first, wings slightly raised. Rowan followed quietly, tail low, ears attentive. The farmer smiled softly. You've returned, he said. And the forest speaks through you. Henrietta tilted her head. The voice, the storm, the silence, it all taught us something. The bond isn't just between predator and prey. It's between those who listen and understand. Rowan stepped forward. We've learned to trust ourselves and each other. The farmer nodded. Then the choice has been made. The forest will rest, and so will this land. You have carried the wisdom forward. Morning light bathed the fields, touching every leaf, every blade of grass, every feather. The spiral stone from the cave lay in the farmer's hands, calm and still. Its glow had softened, as if content. Henrietta pecked softly at the earth, feeling the warmth of the sun. Rowan brushed past her, shaking water from his fur, and for the first time, he felt a quiet peace settle in his chest. The forest behind them seemed different too, less shadowed, more alive. Every branch, every leaf, every whisper of wind carried the memory of the nights they had endured, the chase they had survived, the bond they had forged. The farmer placed the spiral stone back in its wooden box and closed it carefully. Asterisk, it will wait, he said. And remember, asterisk, Henrietta clucked softly. Then we did well. Asterisk, yes, Rowan replied. More than well. We remembered what matters. Asterisk, the fox and the hen walked together across the duet fields. Side by side. Asterisk, the barn doors creaked gently, welcoming them home, and the wind carried the faintest echo of the voice. Greater than the bond is complete. The heart has learned. Asterisk, the land sleeps in peace. Asterisk, Henrietta perched atop a fence post, looking out across the fields, feeling the warmth of sunlight on her feathers. Asterisk, Rowan lay down beside her, eyes half closed, ears flicking at the soft rustle of leaves. Asterisk, they didn't speak. They didn't need to. Asterisk, the world was calm. The storm was gone. The silence had taught them everything. Asterisk, and for the first time in many nights, both predator and prey, fox and hen, could rest without fear. The river flowed gently. The forest watched silently. The barn smelled of straw, warmth, and life. Asterisk, and far above, the sun rose fully, golden and serene, touching the world with light. Henrietta and Rowan slept side by side beneath its glow. The land, the forest, the river, and the farm all held in quiet balance. The story of the fox and the hen was complete, and in its completion, a gentle truth remained. Asterisk, even in a world of predators and prey, of storms and silence, courage, trust, and wisdom could carry any heart to peace.